Welcome back. Continuing our discussion with the candidates running for Long Beach City Prosecutor. Tim, you are the Assistant City Prosecutor. You're the number 2 person in the office under Tom Reeves.
That is correct.
I'd like you to evaluate the performance of Tom Reeves and tell us anything that you would do differently from what he's done.
Well, Tom, I have to tell you, has done an admirable job in the office. He is truly an independent voice in our city. When he thinks something is wrong, he says it. If he doesn't think one of the political ideas makes sense, he stands up and he does that. To his credit, I've been around in this town for 20 years now. I remember what things were like before Tom Reeves came in and after he came in. Probably his single greatest accomplishment in arriving was professionalizing the office, getting it away from a good old boy system, getting it out of politics, getting it to be a professionally run office. And that, I think, is probably his greatest single asset that he has done.
Doug, same question to you. Evaluate the performance of the incumbent.
Well, I've known Tom Reeves for many, many years, and I think he has done a good job in that office. I would obviously focus on some things that I think have been lost in the last few years. Quality of life crimes. Some people may not think they're a priority, but we can't turn our back on any part of this city. I think that's important. You know, I also want to respond, if I could, to something that was just said a minute ago. You know, my opponent calls me a politician, but I think he's the one that moved into Long Beach recently to run for this office. And he's really trying to deflect criticism of his being a criminal defense attorney for many, many years. I know he's been a prosecutor for the last few years, but Tim's very proud of his criminal defense record. Defending criminals, I think he should talk about that during this campaign and not hide from it.
Well, I'll give you a chance right now.
You know, this just shows my opponent's inexperience in understanding the criminal justice system. Both sides of the aisle, both prosecutors are not focused on just getting convictions. Prosecutors have to do justice. And understanding the justice system is what the important part is. When you are on the criminal defense side, you're doing justice also, but the justice, you're focused on an individual person. When you're a prosecutor, you're focused on the justice of society. The functions are basically the same. The criticism of, frankly, of saying I was a criminal defense lawyer at some time, I think is borderline laughable, because in fact that gives you the experience and understanding what my opponent has never done, what it looks like from the other side. Prosecutors, that is probably their single greatest criticism, is that they don't know what it looks like from the other side.
Fair enough. The issue is joined. Let me ask both of you, but starting with Doug, gangs are an enormous problem here in Long Beach. 1% of our 500,000 people are in gangs. What is the proper role? What can the prosecutor do about addressing the gang problem? And same question to you.
Well, you're absolutely right. It is a big problem, and it needs to be addressed. It needs to be addressed early. We need to catch kids early when they're young. Once they've graduated onto more serious crimes, you've lost them. They're in the penal system, and there's not much you can do to bring them back. I'm proud to be endorsed by all 5 members of the Long Beach School Board, and I promise to work with the school district. I want to educate kids on the consequences of their crimes. I don't think that's too far beyond the scope of the duty of the city prosecutor. I want to have that partnership with the youth and that partnership with educators, because they're the ones that I think are going to intercede and help avoid kids and keep kids out of gangs, because once they're in gangs, it's awfully hard to stop them.
Fair enough. And Tim, gangs are a big problem.
You bet.
What's the role of the prosecutors?
They're actually a growing problem in our city.
Yes.
We're having problems up in Northtown and over on the west side. The issue from a prosecutor standpoint is not prevention. Those are things that the police department has portions of its budget, and the school district has portions of its budget. Those are phenomenal things. The prosecutor's office is in suppression. This is one of the reasons why we are rolling out some new gang injunctions. Again, to give the police officers tools to go after these gangs, to stop them from forming, and once they're there, to get them out of our town. This is where the important function of a prosecutor's office is in this town. Not in, unfortunately, with our budget constrained times, it's not in the prevention side. There are other government agencies that are focused on that. A prosecutor's office needs to be focused on the absolute suppression of these gangs as they appear, and that's one of my major things I think this prosecutor's office needs to be focused on.
Tim, I let you know in advance, both of you, that you could each address a question to the other. It's your turn to ask a question of Doug.
Well, thank you. Mr. Haubert, I know you're asking to be elected to a position that has approximately 40 employees, a $4.5 million city budget. Could you explain to the voters where it is in your history that you've been in charge of anything in terms of a leadership role where you have been the person who is the one who's actually out there leading and not just in an advisory role?
Absolutely, and I think that's a good question. In our city, the work that I do, I'm a contract city attorney and contract city prosecutor. I've worked in the cities of Palm Springs, Newport Beach. We've taken on slumlords, we've taken on group home owners, we've taken on some very serious crimes in our cities in a lot of different communities. And Long Beach is a very unique community, but there are a lot of lessons we can learn from other cities, and I'm going to bring that outside perspective to Long Beach. Our firm has a number of attorneys. I have a number of city prosecutors who work underneath me. In all of our communities, I am the supervisor for them. So I do have that experience, and I think I'll bring that to Long Beach in a very effective manner.
Fair enough, and I'll be continuing this discussion, joint appearance, after we pause for these messages.
Phil Trainees mixes California style with continental cuisine that includes fresh seafood from around the world. Since Phil is the chef, the menu has a wide variety of pastas, salads, soups, and appetizers that feature his unique personal touch. And the Italian-American signature dishes are simply beyond delicious. You never know who you're going to run into at Trainees, from the famous sports legends on the Wall of Fame to local celebrities having a drink at the bar. For the best fine dining experience, visit Phil Trainees.
At Performance Plus Tire, you'll find we carry Toyo tires. For over 50 years, Toyo has been a world leader in the development of high-quality tires. Optimum performance, safety, and a comfortable ride. That's what makes Toyo tires great. And now come into Performance Plus Tire for a great deal on these Toyo tires. Proxys ST, Open Country AT, and Proxys 4. Toyo tires, driven to perform. Come in today and we'll install new Toyo tires on your vehicle while you wait. Performance Plus Tire on Cherry Avenue, 1 mile north of the 405 in Long Beach.
It's Big Red Bus. Our English double-decker buses offer large groups a fun, unique, inexpensive alternative to standard transportation. Bar hopping, weddings, sporting events, airport pickups, kids' parties, you name it, and we'll help customize the perfect experience. We have open and closed-top buses available. Both are equipped with custom-built bars, stereo systems, and a friendly hostess. Alcohol is permitted on board. For your next event or fun occasion, call Big Red Bus at 562-852-9888 or visit us on the web.